60 weddings, 1 year. I worked 60 weddings in 1 year, charged $2,500 per gig. That's about $150,000 in contracted value. Sounds like I made it, right? Here's what nobody talks about. I only collected half up front, $1,250 per booking. The other half didn't come in about for 9 to 12 months. So even though I was fully booked, weekends gone, no life, grinding nonstop, I was cash poor. I was busy, but I wasn't profitable. And if you're a wedding DJ right now wondering why your bank account doesn't match your hustle, this video is going to show you exactly what was killing my business and the 4 things you need to fix so it doesn't kill yours. So think about this for a second. How can you be busy but broke? Imagine this, a full calendar feels like success. Every weekend booked, the phone's ringing, inquiries coming in, you're grinding, but your bank account doesn't match, and nobody warns you about this. That was me for years. 55 to 65 weddings a year, charging $2,500 a pop. On paper, that's 6 figures. I should have been killing it. But here's what was actually happening. I collected $1,250 per booking up front. The other half didn't come in until right before the wedding, 9 to 12 months later. So my calendar was packed, but the money wasn't in my account. And I still had expenses hitting me right now. Hotels for when I travel out of town for weddings, gas to get to the venues, I'm paying assistants, marketing to get the next lead, all out of pocket immediately. But half my revenue? It's locked up for almost a year. Here's what I learned the hard way. Being busy doesn't mean you're profitable. Having contracts doesn't mean you have cash. You can work 60 gigs a year and still be broke. It's not about how many weddings you book, it's about how much cash you're actually collecting and how much of your life you're giving up to get it. So what was actually causing this? There were 4 things killing my profitability, and I didn't see any of them until it was almost too late. These are the 4 things were draining my business, and I bet at least 2 of them are happening to you right now. Number 1, terrible cash flow. You see, I'd book a gig, collect $1,250 up front, great, but I wouldn't see the other $1,250 for almost a year. Meanwhile, I'm paying for everything right now. Marketing, travel, hotels, assistants. Half my revenue was stuck in limbo while my expenses were hitting me immediately. Number 2, low profit margins. You see, after I paid for all those expenses, I wasn't keeping much per gig. I thought I was making $2,500. I was actually keeping way less. And number 3, I'm spending money that I didn't need to spend. You see, I was using software that I wasn't really using. I have gear that I thought I needed, but it didn't. I spent money on marketing that wasn't really working. I was just throwing money at business and hoping something would stick. And this is the big one. This is number 4. It's undercharging for my time. Not just undercharging for money, but for time. See, I was charging $2,500 for gigs that ate up my entire weekend. And you know this, we prepare, we travel, we set up, we DJ the event, tear down at the end of the night, and drive back home. When I actually calculated my hourly rate, it was embarrassing. And I had no time for myself, no time for my family, no time to do anything except work. Most DJs think more gigs equals more money. But if your cash flow is bad, your margins are thin, you're spending on stuff that doesn't work, and you're undercharging for your time. You're not building a business. You're building a trap. You're working yourself to death for not enough money and no life. So how do you know if this is happening to you? If you can't answer these 4 questions right now, you're probably exactly where I was. Here are the questions. 1, how much cash have you actually collected this month versus how much you've contracted? Number 2, what's your real profit per gig after all expenses? Number 3, what are you spending money on that isn't actually growing your business? Number 4, and how much are you really making per hour when you factor in all your time? For years, I couldn't answer any of these. Not one. I was flying blind, just grinding, booking gigs, hoping it will work out. And here's the worst part. I was using how tired I felt as my success metric. If I was exhausted, I must be doing well. It's wrong. Exhaustion isn't a business metric. Cash is. margins are, time is. Here's how you know you're in trouble. You can't tell me your cash collected versus the contracted amount. You don't know your profit per gig after your expenses. And you don't know if what you're spending is actually working. You're charging the same rate you've always charged without knowing if it's enough. And you feel like you're working all the time, but your bank account doesn't show it. If that's you, you're not alone, but you can't fix what you can't see. I made a whole video about that, about the numbers you need to track to actually see what's broken in your business. I'll link it at the end. But first, let me show you the difference between being busy and being profitable. Here's the difference in one sentence. Busy DJs count contracts. Profitable DJs, they count cash, margins, and time. Everything changed when I started learning from business coaches like Alex Hormozi. I learned about tracking metrics that actually matter, not contracted value, cash collected, profit margins, expenses, time invested. I started applying that to my DJ business, and I realized I've been measuring success completely wrong. I was looking at my calendar and thinking I was winning because it was full, but I wasn't looking at my bank account or my margins or how much of my life I was trading for each gig, each event. When I finally tracked my numbers, I could see the gap between what I'd contracted and what I'd actually collected. I could see where my money was really going, and I could see that I needed to raise my rates, not because I was greedy, but because I was undervaluing my time and my work. Here's the shift. Busy DJs measure success by how full their calendar is. Profitable DJs measure success by cash flow, margins, and freedom. Busy DJs say yes to everything. Profitable DJs say no to low margin work. Busy DJs work harder. Profitable DJs, they work smarter and make more while working less. You can make more money, have more free time, and work fewer gigs, but only if you know your numbers. So let me repeat that again. You'll only know if you know your numbers. So how do you actually make that shift? Good question. You track 4 things: cash collected versus the contracted, your profit margins, your expenses, and time. When I started tracking, everything got clear. I could see how much cash I'd actually collected versus what was still out there. I could see my real profit per gig. I could see which expenses were helping me grow and which ones were just draining cash. I could see if my rates actually made sense for the time I was investing. And I could finally make smart decisions. And that's what you want, right? Well, I cut the expenses that weren't working. I raised my rates to match my real value. I got selective about which gigs or events I took, and my business completely changed. More money, fewer gigs, I got my life back. Not because I got lucky, because I could finally see what was broken and fix it. See, I spent years flying blind, busy but broke. Then I started tracking my numbers and everything changed. But here's the thing, most DJs aren't going to build a spreadsheet. Most DJs don't even have time to figure out formulas and track everything manually. So I built something. It's called DJIQ. It tracks your contracted value, your cash collected, your direct cost per gig, your profit margins. It shows you exactly what's working and what's not. No spreadsheets, no guesswork, just clarity. So you can stop being busy and start being profitable. Try DJIQ for $5 a month, less than a cup of coffee. Link is in the description. Be smart, get DJIQ. And if you haven't seen it yet, watch this video next, where I break down the 6 numbers every DJ needs to track to actually see what's broken in their business. I'll see you there.